Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The grand military parade that U.S. President Donald Trump yearned for barreled down Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. on Saturday. The parade took place against the backdrop of nationwide protests decrying Trump as a dictator and would-be king. Nazvi Karim with more.
Military on the streets of the United States, in a parade in Washington, D.C., and as deployed guards in Los Angeles. On Saturday, Americans had a chance to see the U.S. military in all its might in ways that made some proud and others horrified. After 8 years of pleading, the military parade U.S. President Donald Trump has long sought finally took place on the streets of the nation's capital, coinciding with his 79th birthday. Estimated to cost $45 million, the parade, ostensibly to celebrate the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary, is seen by his critics as a Trump ego trip. The President and the First Lady arrived to a 21-gun salute, taking their seats at a special viewing stand south of the White House. 128 tanks, more than 6,000 troops, drones, robot dogs, helicopters, and other military hardware on display amid gloomy skies. Trump would sometimes stand and salute. He also swore in 250 new recruits and returning soldiers by reciting the oath of enlistment before addressing the crowd, which reports say appeared less than 200,000 expected to attend.
Because the Army keeps us free, you make us strong, and tonight you have made all Americans very proud. Every other country celebrates their victories. It's about time America did too. Time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you. Your defeat will be certain, your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete. Because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win.
Around the country, tens of thousands of anti-Trump activists held No Kings rallies to protest his immigration raids and deployment of military troops to quell gatherings in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, mounted police supported officers as they fired tear gas into crowds. Some protesters took cover. In Eugene, Oregon, people protested against raids against communities conducted by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. And near Trump's parade in Washington, crowds gathered to fight against what they see as fascism taking hold in the U.S. The parade was meant to bring Americans together, but once the fanfare dies down, it has only exposed deeper divisions. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Planned talks between the U.S. and Iran on Tehran's nuclear program, the crux at the center of the conflict, have been canceled. A sixth round of negotiations planned for today in Oman will not take place. Washington hopes the Iranians will come back to the table soon. Germany, France, and Britain are ready to hold nuclear talks with Iran in the hope of de-escalating the conflict. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi told Israel China opposes their actions, which he says violate international law and threaten further turmoil in the region. Beijing urges a diplomatic solution, saying military means cannot deliver peace. Wang making the point to Israel in a conversation with their Foreign Minister Gideon Saar. Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin spoke with his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump for nearly an hour. The Kremlin criticized the Israeli military actions, while the U.S. supported Israel's targeting of Iranian nuclear facilities. Starting today, motorists who have breached traffic regulations will receive electronic tickets by SMS or email. They can pay their fines online or by conventional means. Samantha Lee reports.
A paper penalty ticket was issued to the driver of this car, who may have also received a digital ticket through email or SMS. During the initial rollout, both paper and digital tickets will be issued as a transitional arrangement, but the system will eventually be paperless. This motorist says it's easy to miss the digital notice amid large numbers of text messages coming in every day on his phone. adding that paper tickets put on his car's windshield are more noticeable. This driver says he's not digital savvy, but he believes he will get used to the new arrangement. An e-ticket is basically the same as the paper version. Both list out information including the vehicle license number, offense day, time and location, and the amount of the fixed penalty. Offenders will receive e-tickets via SMS or email, depending on what contact information they gave to the transport department. Police said SMS tickets are issued under the standard name HKPF-ETT, and all SMS or email tickets do not contain any hyperlinks. Motorists can also check the payment status on a mobile app. Sumansali, TVB News.
The police have teamed up with their Singapore counterpart to smash a cross-boundary syndicate that allegedly engaged in scam activities and money laundering. A total of 8 people were arrested in both places. Early this year, the police found some people had spent $18 million on a large amount of SIM cards. After investigations, police discovered that a group of people had received some $120 million since 2023. 4 men aged between 23 and 48 were arrested in Hong Kong last Friday. Officers also seized mobile messaging devices, routers, and other electronic equipment in 7 industrial building units. Authorities have charged 2 people with conspiracy to defraud. They will appear at Eastern Magistrates Courts on Monday. Meanwhile, Singapore police have arrested 4 Malaysian nationals as part of the joint investigation. The Hong Kong Observatory canceled all tropical cyclone warning signals at 3:40 p.m. and issued the strong monsoon signal instead. The weather forecaster said tropical cyclone Wu-Tip continued to move away from the city. There will be occasional heavy showers over the coast of Guangdong under the influence of a southwesterly airstream. Hong Kong will also experience occasional strong winds for the rest of the day. Welcome back. The Indian government said a panel investigating Thursday's Air India crash in Ahmedabad will issue a report in 3 months. The country's aviation minister said, alongside a formal investigation, the government has formed a high-level multidisciplinary committee to examine the causes leading to the crash. The London-bound Boeing 787 Dreamliner hit a medical college hostel soon after taking off, killing 241 people on board and at least 29 on the ground. 1 passenger survived. Search and recovery operations are continuing, with more bodies found at the crash site. In the UK, King Charles, other members of the UK royal family, and soldiers wore black armbands and observed a moment of silence during the monarch's annual birthday parade as they remembered those killed in the Air India crash. All involved were wearing the symbol of remembrance on their left arm at the annual event of pomp and pageantry. The king was also wearing one, although it's difficult to see from these angles. He was joined by Queen Camilla at the event. After surveying the troops, the royal couple made their way towards Buckingham Palace in a horse-drawn carriage. Nearly 5 months have passed since U.S. President Donald Trump took office, putting into place a string of controversial reforms. His supporters, though, remain loyal, continuing to back his agenda unwaveringly, while for his opponents, his policies are more fuel for their rage. TVB News spoke to those for and against Trump in California, and we start with the supporters. Miriam Lynch reports.
During last year's U.S. presidential election, TVB visited Auntie Bic, who owns a jewelry store in San Francisco's Chinatown. Her store was robbed during the Biden administration, amounting to a loss of 40,000 Hong Kong dollars. She blamed the arrival of illegal immigrants and supported Trump's deportation efforts. Half a year later, Auntie Bic remains a loyal supporter. She believes that illegal immigration causes crime and wastes resources. She hopes that enforcing strict immigration control will allow the government to focus on improving the economy. Ellen Lee Jo ran for mayor of San Francisco last year, centering her campaign on Trump's America First policy. Despite losing the election, she continues to promote Trump's policies and economic reforms. Travis, who works in a church, is frustrated by the government's push in recent years to prioritize diversity and gender inclusivity in school settings, what he believes to be a waste of resources.
Department of Education useless. We were talking about that back 20 years ago. Why are they there? They don't do anything. She should have cut it.
Sam, who once identified as a Democrat, switched her support to Trump in 2016.
When I was a Democrat, a lot of what I believed in was just parroted from what other people told me to believe.
Trump previously indicated that he had no intention of running for a third term as president in 2028. However, many Republicans argue that the U.S. will continue to require strong leadership and support his re-election. Miriam Lynch, TVB News.
And now let's take a look at what the opposition has to say. Timothy Lee reports.
Chants of opposition against Trump heard across the streets of America as protesters accused the president of being a tyrannical figure.
He is not making America great again.
He acts like a king. He's trying to be a dictator.
He's destroying our country from within. Frightening, very frightening.
That's what makes America great. Love, not hate.
Cherry, who organized a local anti-Trump protest in the town of San Luis Obispo in California, said the crowd turned up to defend core American values.
It's a country of immigrants. It's a melting pot that is so beautiful and is completely being homogenized and destroyed by Trump and his cronies.
Sean, a Los Angeles resident who works in the insurance sector, said since the start of Trump's second term, those around him have talked much less, fearing that any discussion about politics will end friendships or even cut familial ties. He noted that the U.S. has always been proud of its freedom of speech, but many are now worried that they'll be targeted for any criticism directed at the administration.
Because I have a young daughter, and I wonder about what she's going to grow up, grow into. Are we going to have this, the benefits of democracy that we have right now? Freedom of speech.
Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Back locally, a puppy died after it was suspected of receiving ear-tipping surgery and was found abandoned at Olympia Park. Some veterinary organizations believe dog breeders were behind the act, adding that authorities should amend relevant laws to prevent the inappropriate mutilation of animal ears and tails. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Traces of surgery could be found on the ears of the 2-month-old Doberman, which was found with its head bound by a paper cup. Residents discovered the puppy in Olympian Park on Friday before it was transferred to an animal protection group. The Doberman received treatment at a veterinary clinic but later died. It was confirmed to have contracted canine parvovirus. Some veterinary organizations said many pet owners or breeders may engage in ear tipping or tail docking surgery on their own in an effort to make their pets more attractive, but stress such practices could cause significant harm to the animals. Mark Mack, the chairman of nonprofit-making Veterinary Services Society, highlighted the absurdity of untrained individuals performing surgery, noting that the use of anesthetics alone carries huge risk. He added that only trained veterinarians are able to properly disinfect animal surgery wounds. Mack said the government previously proposed a ban on unregistered veterinarians from performing surgery on animals, including ear tipping, tail docking, vocal cord removal, or declawing. The chairman of the Veterinary Services Group emphasized such surgery should only be performed if it is deemed to be beneficial to the animal's well-being by a qualified veterinarian. Unqualified individuals who perform surgery on animals could have violated the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Ordinance, while those who cause unreasonable or unnecessary suffering to animals could be subject to a maximum fine of $200,000 and 3 years imprisonment. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Every day in Hong Kong, more than 400 tons of textile waste ends up in landfills, much of it still wearable. A nonprofit organization is working to give a new lease of life to fashion waste with its annual sort-a-thon.
This mountain of garment waste is just part of the 17.9 tons of discarded clothes redress collected over 1 month.
It's really a drop in the ocean of how much clothing and textile waste there is in Hong Kong day to day.
This week, volunteers are diving into the piles, not to shop, but to sort. They are taking part in the body's 3-day sort-a-thon, where tons of second-hand garments are collected from the nonprofit's 128 drop-off points set up across 106 companies and schools.
Well, I've done this for a number of years now, and it surprises me how much bigger it gets. In terms of the pile of clothes, we also need to encourage people possibly not to buy as much as they're buying, because it's a very throwaway culture.
But there's a lot of treasures in them, like really vintage buttons, cool zippers, pipings that can really inspire a collection. The fashion industry is the world's second most damaging industry to the planet. And I think it's our duty as every new designer, not just new designer, every designer from now on to basically incorporate sustainability in their work in a very seamless way.
Last year, Redress sorted 17 tons with up to 60% donated to charities, some 15% resold, and around 20% downcycled for industrial use.
We're starting to see people in Hong Kong be more conscious of their clothing habits, but really trying to help with our program to provide that middleman service where we can take whatever you want to get rid of and sort it and make sure charities are receiving exactly what they need and aren't burdened with other people's cast-offs.
If every person in Hong Kong could just buy one fewer item of clothing each year, Redress estimates that could cut more than 4,500 tons of waste, and that's equivalent to the weight of 194 double-decker buses. From waste back to the wardrobe, Redress hopes a month-long campaign can spark long-term habits and lifelong commitments for a more sustainable future in the region's textile industry and beyond.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the evening.